Hello everyone, and welcome to an Education Commons video titled Zoom Events Training. In this session today, we are going to go over everything that has to do with Zoom events. We're going to start by updating our Zoom app. Then we'll navigate over to the Zoom Events website and join the event. We'll learn how we can navigate around the Zoom Events platform. We'll also run a practice session and test out all of the different tools that are available. And lastly, if you have any questions about Zoom events, please feel free to reach out to Education Commons. Well, without any further ado, let's hop into this. So the first thing we want to do before we log into the Zoom events website is we want to make sure that our Zoom client or the app on our computer, Zoom, is actually up to date. So the first thing you're going to want to do is open up your Zoom client, and then in the top right corner, there is a button that's called Check for Updates. Here, you can check to see if your Zoom needs to be updated, which usually feels like it happens every few days. And once it is, just make sure you update it and do the installation. This should just take a few minutes. Now that my Zoom has been updated, I'm going to sign in using my University of Toronto email address. Now that I've signed back into my Zoom application, I'm going to head over to my web browser and go to the website events.zoom.us. Here I'll be prompted to sign in again, and the first thing I'll see is a list of all of the upcoming events. And here I can see the 2024 Virtual OISE Open House. I'm going to click Join. As you can see, the event starts in a few days, and if I want to run some practice sessions or learn how to use the Zoom Events platform, I can easily navigate around. The first page I'm brought to is the lobby. This will tell you who some of the speakers are and also give you a countdown to the event start date. Under the next tab, you can see a list of sessions. Depending on which sessions you're running, you can run a practice session. Let me just find one here and let's test it out. Higher Education Doctoral PhD. I'm going to click the Start Practice button so I can see what it looks like inside the Zoom Events platform. As you can see, my Zoom Events app has opened up the session, and I'm going to join with my computer audio. In the bottom left corner, you can see that my microphone is working. You can see that my camera is working. But now let's take a look at some of the features once I'm actually in this mini webinar. So in the bottom left corner, you can see that my microphone is working. And you can also see that my video is working. But if I want to change any of these settings, I can easily open them up and turn them on or off. I can also view how many participants are in my session by clicking the Participants button. Here you'll see a list of the panelists, which are people who are presenting, as well as the attendees. You can also see the chat feature as well, so you can determine who you want to message, whether you want to send a message to just the hosts and panelists, maybe some behind the scenes kind of questions, or if you want to send a message to everyone, so this includes all of the attendees as well. You can also use different types of reactions, which is pretty fun, especially if someone's giving a speech and you want to show them that they are doing a good job, you can use different reactions. The share button is probably the most important if you are going to be sharing slides or websites or information. So if I click the share button here, I have a whole wide array of options. Some of them I can share my entire desktop screens, or I can actually go into individual applications that I have open. So here's where you can find your Microsoft PowerPoint. You can also post resources into the session as well too. So if you want to share links or documents with the panelists, this is a great and kind of more official way to do it. So if someone has a question about enrollment, you can send them a link to the enrollment website. You'll also see there's a Q&A button. So depending on if you have Q&A turned on in your session, you may start to see questions populate in here. And then panelists have the opportunity to answer those questions or dismiss them if they are inappropriate. You can also show or hide captions during the presentation as well too, and individual students who are attending this session will have that option as well. Over on the right hand side, there's some more hidden features. One of the most important is when you are starting your session, make sure you hit the record button. For the sake of it being a Zoom event session, you can record to the cloud, and this is going to just basically record all of the sessions from this event so they can be reviewed or maybe shared later. And just like that, that is how you would use the Zoom Events platform to run a practice session. When you're done your practice session, you can hit the end button and then just choose Leave Webinar. And now I've done that, it's brought me back out to my sessions page, which is great, and I can still see all the practice sessions are available. You'll notice some of the sessions just say start practice and some say join, and that's because some of them have been set up as meetings and some of them have been set up as webinars. And this really just depends on the type of session you're running and how much control you want to give to the attendees, if you want them to be able to turn on their microphones and things like that. The next tab over, you can see the itinerary. So again, this is more focused on the people who are attending the session, but they can basically set up their own itinerary before the event starts and see when their next session begins. There's also an expo floor as well, which has a bunch of different kind of drop-ins that are available throughout the day for different groups on campus, and students can pop in there and learn more about the OISE library, U of T family care office, etc. The last tab is the speakers tab, and as you can see, a lot of speakers have already added their photos and their bios, which is great. So if you haven't done that as well, I would recommend doing that. Just because this is what students see right before they join your session or click to join it. They'll see who the speakers are and get a better understanding there. And so that's basically it in a nutshell of how to use the OISE Virtual Open House Zoom events platform. Once the event is running, you'll notice the lobby will look a little different. It will be playing a session in the background up here. So that way, if students are just joining the Zoom events, they can see a session that's ongoing, as well as a list of ones that are upcoming as well. And this concludes our Zoom Events training session. If you have any questions about using the Zoom Events platform, please feel free to reach out to Education Commons. Thank you.